Welcome to the Unitarian Universalist Society of Geneva. I like to say that our church is part of a living tradition. That means a lot of different things, but essentially what it means is that we are bound by a common history, an affirmation for what we consider to be the great spiritual quest of humanity for truth and meaning. And also by the promises that we make to one another about the spiritual values that we choose to uphold in our world. We have no creed, and that sounds, well, it's an old word, creed. But what it means is that we have no tests of faith. There's no definition of what it means to be a Unitarian Universalist. We are what we call a large tent, and we welcome specifically your doubts and your questions, wherever you happen to be on your journey. We invite you to be part of this congregation in which we draw wisdom from all the world's religions and then balance them with the insights of modern science. Our goal is to build a diverse, beloved community, and it is our great hope to inspire each other, to challenge each other, and to accompany each other as together we act for hope, peace, love, and justice in our own lives and in our larger world. Today's message is going to be shared by one of our very own, Ashley Robin Peterson, who identifies as a queer, non-binary, transgender woman. She was born and raised in Naperville and now lives in Aurora. Ashley has a bachelor's degree in physics from the New Mexico Institute of Mining and Technology. She's an IT professional, an aspiring pagan, and has a rather robust interest in science fiction, which we will be exploring shortly. A member here at UUSG since 2012, many of you know that Ashley began her transition while here back in 2018. Lastly, many of you also know that she recently became engaged to another UUSG member, Teal Seco. So please raise your hands. Yes, hello. Excellent. We're just delighted to be part of this journey. So thank you for sharing with us. We're very grateful for Ashley's message this morning, which she has titled, Cracked Eggs, Trans Liberation Through the Lens of the Matrix.
Hear the immortal words of the resistance leader Morpheus from the Matrix movie, played by Lawrence Fishburne, as he presents the main character Neo, played by Keanu Reeves, with a choice. You take the blue pill, the story ends. You wake up in your bed and believe whatever you want to believe. You take the red pill, you stay in Wonderland, and I show you how deep the rabbit hole goes. The choice. Learn the truth of the Matrix, a fake reality designed to enslave humans to artificially intelligent machines, and fight to liberate humanity, or continue to live life ignorant of the truth behind their reality. Fun fact. Did you know that estrogen pills, like the kind often taken by transgender women for hormone replacement therapy, used to be red? This fact was no coincidence to the sibling directors of the Matrix trilogy, Lily and Lana Wachowski, who both transitioned after the Matrix movies came out in 1999. Today, I encourage you to join me, Ashley Robin Peterson, pronouns she, her, hers, they, them, theirs, as I take my estrogen pills. And together in Wonderland, we see how deep the rabbit hole goes. The lives of those of us who are transgender, intersex, and gender nonconforming are a lot like the journey of Neo. Many of us go through our lives experiencing dysphoria, a feeling of discomfort, a growing realization that something is wrong with our bodies as we were assigned them at birth, that something is wrong with our world as we know it. The moment that we understand where this feeling may lead us is often called cracking our egg. It is here, with Morpheus nowhere to be found, that we must make a choice. Do we take the blue pill? Do we prioritize our safety, security, and prosperity and deny our reality, deny the feeling of wrongness in our very essence? Or do we take the red pill? Do we accept ourselves and who we really are, no matter the consequences? It's not an easy choice to make. And it's a choice that we might revisit many times in our lives. If we do take the red pill, we hatch from our cracked eggs, yanking out our umbilicals to the matrix. And we glimpse for the very first time a world beyond our constructed reality, a world beyond the gender we were assigned at birth, beyond a world that assigns us a value based only on our labor and our parts. We cannot survive in the matrix any longer. I will never, never forget when I cracked my own egg and came into my own power beyond the gender binary. I had left college in the spring of 2012 with a growing realization, a growing sense of unease and discomfort about myself and about my identity. My participation in a college drag show and my giddiness at presenting as a woman only making me a little bit more uncomfortable, only heightening my unease. To alleviate my growing unease, I sought out the anonymity of virtual spaces online where I could present as a woman anonymously. And I frolicked through these virtual spaces for a while, but I couldn't live a virtual life forever. I needed to be a woman everywhere and every day. So I began to cross-dress, to wear clothes in private corresponding to my gender reality. I was terrified to step out the door as myself, afraid of the judgment by my family, my friends, my workplace, and my community. Once I worked up the courage, I began seeking out physical spaces where I could be myself, and maybe even to meet people like myself, other people who were questioning their gender. It was at one of these physical spaces, a suburban walking group for trans people, where I met the person who would later become my Morpheus, and they would change my life forever. She was a strong and confident woman from the city and she was everything I aspired to be. And she presented me with a test and a choice. She gave me a limited supply of medication for hormone replacement therapy. If I wanted to know if I was a woman, she suggested, I could take the medication as prescribed and see how I feel. I should stress at this point in the story that if you are listening to me and you are questioning your gender, I would encourage you not to self-prescribe. You have options for gender-affirming care. You have options for gender-affirming healthcare providers who will listen to you, who will validate your lived experience, who will treat you with dignity and respect, and will provide you with the care that you ask for under medical supervision. Back to my story. I did not take the medication my friend gave me. Not at first. Not until I gave myself permission to ask the question, am I a woman? And for my heart to answer, yes. Yes, I am a woman. Because if I'm asking that question at all, then I already know the answer to that question. This powerful moment, this egg-cracking moment, happened the night after one of my therapy sessions, where my therapist questioned my identity as a trans woman. When I came home, I looked into the mirror, into a face I did not recognize. I knew in my heart who I was, what I had to do, and what I wanted. I took my first estrogen pill that very night. May it be so. In the Matrix, there exists dangers. Agents, think Agent Smith, are the enforcers within the false reality of the Matrix, who exterminate any internal threats. Outside of the Matrix, robotic, squid-like sentinels threaten humans inside the true reality. As we transition from our assigned gender at birth to our gender and our gender reality, our new lives are not without peril. Systemic discrimination, violence, and Texan governors, enforcers of the gender binary, lurk around every corner, lurk just out of sight. Among the agents aligned against us is economic hardship. According to the respondents of the 2015 US Transgender Survey, 30% of respondents with a job last year reported being fired, denied a promotion, or experienced mistreatment in the workplace due to their gender identity or expression. 1/3 of the respondents lived in poverty. Respondents were three times more likely to be unemployed than the national unemployment rate. The sentinels of stigma haunt us as well. 1 in 10 of respondents of the 2015 US Transgender Survey reported that a family member was violent to them because they were transgender. 8% of respondents were kicked out of their house because they were transgender. And more recently, the state of Texas has weaponized Child Protective Services by attempting to conflate providing transgender youth with gender-affirming care as child abuse. Legislatures in at least 10 other states have drafted, passed, or are attempting to pass similar proposals prohibiting our access to gender-affirming care and athletics. In what should be a surprise to no one, economic hardship, stigma, and discrimination have profound effects upon our mental health. 39% of respondents experienced serious psychological distress in the month prior to the survey. 40% of respondents had attempted suicide in their lifetimes, 9 times higher than the national attempted suicide rate. I myself am no stranger to the harsh realities of my community. I have sheltered homeless friends fleeing their families. I have cared for beloved friends and borne witness to violence against them. I have held vigil, remembering friends whose spirits were taken from this world far too soon. May my dear friend Elise Mallory rest in power. I have been physically groped, both on the streets and at Chicago Pride. The police, I believed myself safe. I was rejected by the Catholic school that I'd called an employer for 8 years. The school crafted discriminatory hiring policies to coerce me from publicly transitioning, no matter the consequences. I continue my transition. May it be so. But fear not, in the desert of the real, even as agents and sentinels surround us, there is hope. Journey with me to Zion and witness our lives full of joy. Zion in the Matrix movies represents the last human community free of the control of the machines. Through Zion, we build family and community out of necessity and survival. Witness our chosen families, often created at a distance from the families who created us, raised us, cared for us, and then excluded and rejected us. Often we survive in tight-knit nests of fellow exiles, eking out a tenuous existence. Witness our chosen communities, which take many forms. We may find or create support groups, welcoming churches, inclusive workplaces, all of which will affirm our basic needs for respect, dignity, and support as we transition. Like Zion, our chosen communities and families can be messy, complicated, full of drama and infighting, emotionally draining, full of politics, like any family or community, really. but it feels real. More real than anything else we've ever had. And it feels beautiful, full of a diversity of beautiful beings experiencing joy in their bodies for the very first time, just like us. In the euphoria of our transformed relationships with our bodies, our communities, and families, we never, never want to go back to the Matrix. And as we stand here before you, red pill and blue pill in hand, which choice will you make? Will you take the blue pill? Will you deny our lived realities or become defensive about your role? Will you ignore our names and pronouns, misgender us, dead name us, or insult our bodies and our struggles? Will you disclose our transgender status to our families or work and put us in, without our permission, and put us in real physical or emotional danger? Will you sabotage through direct action or willful apathy our attempts at community and happiness? Will you choose a life of ignorant bliss as we suffer? Or will you take the red pill? Will you listen to us as we tell you our names and pronouns? Will you use our names and pronouns? Will you respect our privacy and confidentiality and forbear disclosing our transgender status without our permission? Will you challenge transgender stigma and discrimination in public and fight for your trans, queer, and non-binary children, family, and friends? Will you stand with us together on the side of love, respect, and dignity? Allies, this is but the start of your role. Donate to local and national organizations like Youth Outlook, PFLAG, the Trevor Project, the Chicago Brave Space Alliance, led by queer transgender women of color, the Chicago Therapy Collective, and many more. Your contribution can make a difference. Help make your workplace a more affirming and inclusive environment for trans and queer people. Share your own pronouns. It costs you nothing. Create all gender restroom spaces. Avoid gendered language. Prioritize hiring transgender, intersex, and gender nonconforming employees. And lift up and amplify our voices wherever you are. Remember, this is our struggle. You are invited to walk together with us, but not in front of us. As we leave our sacred space together, I offer us the words of Neo from his speech at the end of the first Matrix movie. But they're not the words that you might be familiar with. To inspire you to live out your faith, I present to you Neo's speech from the original script. I know you're out there. I can feel you now. I imagine you can also feel me. You won't have to search for me anymore. I'm done running, done hiding. Whether I'm done fighting, I suppose, is up to you. I believe deep down we both want this world to change. I believe that the Matrix can become our cage, or it can become our chrysalis. That's what you helped me to understand. That to be truly free, you cannot change your cage. You must change yourself. When I used to look at this world, all I could see was its edges, its boundaries, its leaders and laws. But now I see another world, a different world where all things are possible, a world of hope, of peace, of peace. I can't tell you how to get there, but I know if you free your mind, you'll find the way. I stand before you now, Ashley Robin Peterson, a queer, non-binary, transgender woman, and invite you to discover all of the myriad ways to support our trans, intersex, and gender non-conforming children, family, and friends as we work together to tear down the constructed reality that is the gender binary. May it be so. Awe. Blessed be. Amen. And thank you.
As we prepare to leave this place, continue your journey in love. Care for one another and care for this, our earth. Do justice and make peace. And as you go, know that whatever taste or touch you've had in this time and place of hope, joy, love, or peace, that goes with you out into the world. We are different for having spent this time together. So remember, live boldly and with thanksgiving. Thank you so much. Go in peace.